Picture this. You arrive at the airport, bags packed, excitement building for your trip, only to be stopped at security and told you can't board your flight. No refund, no second chances, just watching your vacation disappear because you didn't know about a rule that changed while you weren't paying attention. This nightmare scenario is about to become reality for millions of travelers in 2026 if they don't know what's coming. Welcome back to the channel. If you're planning to fly anywhere in 2026, whether it's across the country or across the ocean, this video could literally save your trip. We're talking about the biggest shakeup in air travel since 9/11, with new rules that affect every single step of your journey from the moment you book to the moment you land. And here's the kicker. Most travelers have absolutely no idea these changes are happening. Let's start with something that's already catching people off guard right now. The Real ID deadline isn't coming, it's already here. As of May 7th, 2025, that old driver's license you've been using for years might not get you through security anymore. Look at the top right corner of your license right now. Do you see a gold or black star? If not, you have a problem. Without that star, your license is worthless at TSA checkpoints, even for domestic flights within the United States. Your only alternatives are a valid passport, military ID, or one of a handful of other federally approved documents. And before you think this won't affect you, consider this. 6% of travelers, about 140 million passengers annually, still don't have compliant identification. But wait, it gets more expensive. Starting February 1st, 2026, if you show up without a real ID or passport, the TSA isn't just going to wave you through after a few extra questions anymore. They're launching something called TSA Confirm.ID, and it's going to cost you $45. That's right, $45 per person, and here's what makes it even worse. Paying that fee doesn't guarantee you'll be allowed to fly. The process takes between 10 to 30 minutes, sometimes longer during peak travel times. You'll answer a series of identity verification questions, provide biometric information, and if the system can't confirm who you are, you're denied boarding, and you lose your $45 plus the cost of your ticket. And that verification, it only lasts 10 days. After that, you pay another $45. Your identity apparently expires like milk. And yes, before you ask, facial recognition is still technically voluntary. You can opt out by simply telling the TSA officer you'd prefer a manual check. But here's the reality. At a busy airport during peak hours, choosing the manual line could add serious delays to your trip while everyone else breezes through the biometric gates. The system is designed to make opting out inconvenient enough that most people just go along with it. Let's talk about something that's causing massive confusion right now: the liquid rules. For nearly 20 years, we've lived by the 3-1-1 rule: liquids in 3.4-ounce bottles, all in one quart-sized bag. Well, the TSA has started deploying advanced CT scanners that can see through your bag with incredible 3D detail. And at airports with this new technology, you can leave your liquids and laptops inside your carry-on. No more fumbling to pull everything out. Sounds great, right? Here's the problem. Only 285 out of 435 airports with security checkpoints have these scanners. That means you might fly out of a major hub like JFK with everything in your bag, only to be stopped at a smaller airport on your return trip and told to unpack it all. The official TSA policy is still the 3-1-1 rule nationwide. Full deployment of CT scanners? That's at least a decade away. So here's the pro move. Pack as if the old rules still apply everywhere. Keep your liquids in a clear bag ready to be pulled out, and if the airport has the new scanners, consider it a bonus. Now, if you're planning a trip to Europe, pay very close attention because two massive new systems are rolling out that will completely change how you enter the continent. The first is called EES, the Entry Block Exit System, and it started its progressive launch on October 12, 2025. By April 10, 2026, it will be fully operational at all border crossings in 29 European countries. Here's what this means for you. The days of passport stamps are over. Instead, when you arrive at any of these 29 countries, which include all the popular destinations like France, Spain, Italy, Greece, and Portugal, you'll provide fingerprints and a facial scan at a kiosk. The system then digitally tracks your stay and automatically calculates how many days you have left on your 90-day limit within any 180-day period. No more counting stamps or trying to figure out if you're about to overstay. The computer knows exactly where you are. The second system is ETIAS, the European Travel Information and Authorization System, and this one is expected to launch in the last quarter of 2026, somewhere between September and December. Think of it like the ESTA program the US uses, but for Europe. Once ETIAS is active, if you're a US citizen traveling to any of 30 European countries, you must apply online before you board your flight. The application costs about 7 to 8 euros, and the good news is that most approvals come through within minutes. Once approved, your ETIAS authorization is valid for 3 years or until your passport expires, whichever comes first. There will be a 6-month transitional period, followed by a 6-month grace period, so you won't be refused entry immediately if you don't have it. But make no mistake, after those grace periods end, no ETS means no entry. And here's a critical detail most people miss. Your passport must be valid for at least 3 months beyond your intended departure date from Europe for ETIAS to be approved. If your passport is set to expire too soon, you'll need to renew it first. Let's shift gears and talk about carry-on luggage, because airlines are cracking down harder than ever before, and it's all about money. That slightly oversized carry-on you've been sneaking through for years? Those days are numbered. Airlines have adopted a new universal standard, 22 by 14 by 9 inches, or 56 by 36 by 23 centimeters. Gate agent discretion is disappearing, replaced by automated bag sizers. If your bag is even an inch too big, you'll be flagged for a fee, and those fees can be double what you would have paid to check the bag online. We're talking $50 to $100 or more in surprise charges right at the gate. But size isn't the only issue anymore. Weight limits are finally being enforced. Most airlines are setting the cap between 8 and 10 kilograms, which is 17 to 22 pounds. That might sound reasonable until you realize your laptop, a pair of shoes, and a few changes of clothes can easily push you over that limit. Airlines in Asia and Australia have been weighing carry-ons for years, and now it's spreading worldwide. Virgin Australia announced they'll start enforcing weight limits in 2026. Automated weigh-in systems are being installed at check-in kiosks and boarding gates. If your bag tips the scale, it's getting checked and you're paying the fee. Your personal item is also under more scrutiny now. That backpack or purse? It must fit fully under the seat in front of you without bulging or blocking airflow. If it doesn't, gate agents can now reclassify it as a second carry-on and charge you accordingly. The only way to win this game is to be prepared before you leave home. Measure your bags, weigh them, and make sure they comply with your airline's exact limits. Now let's talk about something that could literally get you kicked off a flight: lithium batteries. The most important rule hasn't changed. All spare lithium batteries and power banks must be in your carry-on luggage. They are strictly forbidden in checked bags because of fire risk, but enforcement is getting much stricter. Check your battery's watt-hour rating, clearly labeled as WH on the battery itself. Most personal devices are under 100 watt-hours, and you're fine. Between 100 and 160 watt-hours, you need airline approval before you fly. and you're limited to 2 spare batteries. Cross 160 watt-hours, and that battery is completely banned from passenger aircraft. If your battery isn't labeled, you could be forced to discard it at security. Smart luggage is a major focus now. If your bag has a built-in battery and that battery is not easily removable by hand, meaning you need a tool to take it out, that bag isn't allowed on U.S. airlines at all, whether as carry-on or checked. And here's the new rule specifically for powered mobility devices. Starting January 11th, 2026, removable lithium batteries used in electric wheelchairs and scooters will have a maximum limit of 300 watt-hours. Always remove batteries before gate checking a bag. The Lufthansa Group has already been charging environmental fees since January 2025, ranging from 2 to 72 euros per ticket for flights from the EU, UK, Norway, and Switzerland. Virgin Atlantic announced they're rolling out similar charges within the next 18 months. These fees are often buried in your ticket's tax breakdown, so a fare that looks cheap at first might cost significantly more. Let's end on some actually good news for travelers. The Department of Transportation has finally given passengers real protection when flights are disrupted. Rules that took effect in October 2024 mandate automatic cash refunds for canceled or significantly changed flights. For the first time, the DOT has officially defined what a significant change means: a delay of 3 hours or more for domestic flights and 6 hours or more for international flights. It also covers changes to your airport or adding an extra connection. If this happens and you choose not to travel, the airline must provide an automatic prompt refund in your original form of payment, not a voucher. You don't have to ask for it, you don't have to fight for it, it's automatic. Refunds must be issued within 7 business days for credit card purchases and 20 calendar days for other payment methods. The rule also covers baggage fees if your bag is delayed more than 12 hours on a domestic flight. If you paid for Wi-Fi that doesn't work or a seat selection you didn't get, you get that money back too. So let's recap everything you absolutely need to know. First, check your ID right now. If your driver's license doesn't have a star, get it updated or commit to carrying your passport for all flights. That $45 confirm.ID fee starting in February is not a safety net. It's a last resort that doesn't even guarantee you'll fly. Second, biometric screening is spreading fast, and while you can technically opt out, prepare for delays if you do. Third, pack your liquids as if the 311 rule still applies everywhere, because in most airports, it does. Fourth, if you're headed to Europe, understand that EES is already rolling out and ETIAS is coming by the end of 2026. Both are mandatory, and your passport needs to be valid for at least 3 months beyond your trip. Fifth, measure and weigh your carry-on bags before you leave home because airlines are done letting things slide. Sixth, know your battery watt-hour ratings and keep all spares in your carry-on. And finally, if your flight is significantly delayed or canceled, you're entitled to an automatic refund, so don't let airlines pressure you into taking vouchers. Air travel in 2026 is a completely different game than it was just a couple of years ago. These aren't minor tweaks to existing rules. These are fundamental changes to how identity is verified, how borders are controlled, how airlines manage space and weight, and how your rights are protected when things go wrong. The travelers who thrive are the ones who know the rules before they step foot in an airport. Don't be the person learning about these changes while watching your trip fall apart. If this video helped you avoid even one surprise fee, if you're planning to fly after turning 65, there's a 90% chance you'll walk into an airport in 2026 completely unprepared for what's waiting at that check-in counter. January brought sweeping changes that turned the old way of flying into a memory, and seniors are getting caught in the crossfire. From new wheelchair assistance deadlines that airlines won't tell you about to biometric face scans that don't recognize your 10-year-old passport photo, the airport experience has fundamentally changed. Miss just one of these new rules, and you could be denied boarding before you ever see your gate. Here's what actually changed when the calendar flipped to 2026. And more importantly, what you need to do right now to make sure your next trip doesn't end before it begins. The digital takeover is complete. Walk into any major U.S. airport today and you'll notice something immediately. The old-school check-in counters with lines of people waiting to talk to actual humans have practically vanished. In 2026, the entire check-in process assumes one thing about you: that you've already done everything on your phone before you arrived. Airlines aren't asking anymore, they're demanding. Delta, United, American, Southwest. All of them have shifted to a mobile-first model where paper boarding passes feel like relics from another era. But here's the trap nobody warns you about. If you show up at the airport without having checked in on an app, you'll find yourself searching for a full-service counter that's buried behind a maze of kiosks and express lanes you can't use. Those express lanes? They're only for people who've already checked in digitally. The bag drop lanes? Same story. You need to have your boarding pass on your phone or printed before you can even approach them. For seniors who don't use smartphone apps or don't have printers at home, this creates a genuine problem. The solution isn't complicated, but you need to know it exists. Every major airline still has a legal obligation to provide paper boarding passes to passengers who request them. The trick is finding the right line. Look for signs that say full service, check-in, or special assistance. These are the counters where human agents can print everything you need and fix problems the kiosks can't handle. And here's the part that changes your entire airport strategy. Because these counters are now serving everyone who didn't check in digitally, the lines move much slower than they used to. The TSA might tell you 2 hours is enough for a domestic flight, but if you need a paper boarding pass printed at the counter, 3 hours is your new safety buffer. Showing up 2 hours early might have been fine in 2019. In 2026, it's how you miss your flight. There's actually a smarter way to handle this. Your son, daughter, or grandchild can check you in from anywhere in the country using just your confirmation number and last name. They can do it on their phone, email the boarding pass to you, and you can print it at home or at a library. You walk into the airport with paper in hand, completely bypassing the chaos at the counter. No app needed, no kiosk confusion, just you and your printed boarding pass walking straight to security. The 48-hour wheelchair rule that stops flights cold. Here's a scenario playing out at airports every single day in 2026. A senior arrives expecting wheelchair assistance, only to be told by the airline, "We don't have anyone available right now. We'll do our best, but no promises." What happened? They didn't request the wheelchair at least 48 hours before departure, and now the system is treating them like a walk-in at a fully booked restaurant. This isn't a suggestion anymore. Major U.S. airlines and airports, places like Atlanta, Denver, LAX, Chicago O'Hare, now operate under a policy where wheelchair and mobility assistance must be added to your booking a minimum of 48 hours before your scheduled departure time. If that note isn't in the system, staff will say they'll try to help, but in reality, you're behind every passenger who did pre-book. That's how seniors end up dragging bags through long terminals or nearly missing connections because nobody ever shows up with a chair. New Department of Transportation regulations that took effect on January 16, 2025, now require airlines to notify you in writing when your wheelchair is loaded onto the aircraft. If it's not loaded, they must tell you why. If your wheelchair is damaged or delayed, there's now a legal presumption that the airline violated federal law. Airlines must provide a loaner wheelchair, reimburse you for transportation costs, and give you the option to choose your own repair vendor at their expense. These are real protections, but only if you requested the assistance properly in the first place. When you book your ticket, use this exact phrase. Can you add continuous mobility assistance from check-in through boarding with no handoffs? That single sentence gets you more than just a wheelchair at the curb. It gets you a person who stays with you through the entire journey. Check-in, security, gate, boarding. One person, one journey, zero gaps. Priority boarding rights you never knew you had. Most seniors stand in regular boarding groups with aching knees, watching passengers with expensive credit cards walk on first, and think that's just how it works. It's not. If you have arthritis, a replaced knee or hip, chronic pain, or simply can't stand in one place for extended periods, U.S. airlines are required to treat that as a mobility limitation under Department of Transportation accessibility rules. You don't need a wheelchair to board early. You need to know how to ask. The system airlines use is called a Special Service Request, or SSR. It's a hidden note attached to your ticket that tells gate agents you qualify for assisted or priority boarding. When you book, call the airline and say, "Can you add a special service request for mobility support and assisted boarding to my reservation?" That language matters because it speaks the system's language. Your boarding pass gets flagged, and at the gate, you're called to board with the early or assisted group. This is the difference between standing for 15 minutes in a crowded jetway with pain shooting through your joints and sitting down calmly in your seat with time to stow your bag and catch your breath before everyone else boards. Keeping your companion with you. Here's something that shocks most people. If you've been flagged for mobility assistance, federal rules under the Air Carrier Access Act often allow one companion to stay with you through security and boarding, even if you're in different boarding groups. At check-in, instead of saying, "We're traveling together," use this. "We're traveling together and I'm under mobility assistance." Please link our boarding for companion continuity. That phrase tells the system your companion isn't just trying to cut the line. They're part of your documented accessibility plan. In many cases, the airline will pull your companion into your earlier boarding group or mark your reservations so gate staff know not to separate you. And what if your companion isn't even flying with you? Let's say your daughter is dropping you off, but you're anxious about navigating TSA and finding the gate alone. Many U.S. airports allow airlines to issue a gate pass or non-passenger escort pass. It lets a family member go through security with you, walk you to the gate, and help you get settled before boarding. At the check-in counter, ask, "I have mobility issues and my daughter is helping me today. Is it possible to issue her a gate pass so she can escort me to the gate?" It's TSA and airport dependent, but it's absolutely worth asking. Security screening has changed everything. On July 8, 2025, the TSA made an announcement that should have been headline news for seniors. Passengers are no longer required to remove their shoes at security checkpoints. The old policy that made bending down and balancing on one foot a mandatory part of flying? Gone. Modern CT scanners deployed at major airports can now detect threats without shoe removal. But here's the catch. Not every lane has the new scanners, and TSA agents don't always remember to tell passengers. The rule now is simple. Keep your shoes on, unless specifically instructed otherwise. If you're asked to remove them, and that's genuinely hard on your body, Mention that you're over 65 with mobility issues and ask if there's another screening option. Medical devices and implants have also gotten clearer rules. If you travel with a CPAP machine, insulin, heart medication, or liquid nutrition, TSA treats those as medically necessary items. In many cases, they can stay in your bag during screening instead of being pulled out. A quick heads up to the TSA officer helps. You're declaring that medical items are inside. For pacemakers, metal implants, knee replacements, and surgical screws, TSA has a notification card you can print from their website and fill out with a short note like pacemaker fitted or metal implant in left knee. Handing that card to the officer before you step into the scanner tells them, you're going to see something. It's medical, not a mystery. For pacemakers especially, let them know you'd prefer a manual pat-down rather than having a handheld wand waved over your chest. Medication rules that actually make sense. In 2026, there are two categories of medications you need to understand: liquids and pills. For liquids, insulin, prescription syrups, liquid nutrition, and the ice packs that keep them cold. TSA considers these medically necessary liquids. They can exceed the 3.4-ounce limit, but only if you declare them before screening. Don't hide them in your toiletry bag. Separate them, place them on top of your carry-on, and when you reach the officer, say, "These are medically necessary liquids for my condition. They may be over 3.4 ounces. They might swab or scan them, but you've told them exactly what they are from the start." Pills are where things change between domestic and international travel. On U.S. domestic flights, TSA usually doesn't mind if your meds sit in a Monday through Sunday pill organizer. But once you fly internationally, some countries, Japan, the UAE, parts of Europe, really dislike mystery pills in a plastic box with no label. For trips abroad, keep your original pharmacy bottles with your name, the drug name, and dose printed on the label. You can still use a daily organizer, but keep the labeled containers in your bag. Before any long international trip, especially if you'll be gone more than 90 days. Check the official health or customs page for the country you're visiting to see if any of your medications are restricted and how many months you're allowed to carry. Temperature-sensitive medications and medical cooler bags. If you travel with insulin or any medication that hates heat, you've probably sat on a plane thinking, "Is this getting too warm right now?" Under current U.S. rules, a small dedicated medical bag is usually treated separately from your normal carry-on allowance. Use a small, soft cooler or insulated pouch and add a tag that says medical or insulin. Cabin air can get warm, and overhead bins are often even hotter, especially on long flights. For insulin and temperature-sensitive meds, always bring your own insulated bag. On some flights, the crew may help by storing a labeled medical pouch in a cooler galley spot. The best moment to ask is as you board. Walk on with your small labeled cooler in hand and say to the flight attendant, "I'm traveling with temperature-sensitive medication. Could you please keep it in the crew cooler so it stays safe?" A small, clearly labeled pouch makes it much easier for them to say yes. Accessibility, seating, and when to demand help. A tight middle seat at 25 is annoying. At 65, with bad knees or a replaced hip, it can knock you out for days. On many U.S. airlines under Department of Transportation rules, an aisle or bulkhead seat can count as an accessibility need. If you struggle to stand up, need quick restroom access, use a cane or walker, or have serious joint pain, you're not asking for luxury. You're asking for a seat your body can safely manage. What changes everything is how you frame the request. Use this language: "I need an accessibility seat for mobility and comfort under the DOT policy, And if that's not possible, may I speak with the complaint resolution official? That one line tells them this is about accessibility, not preference, and reminds the airline that there's a specific person, the complaint resolution official, or CRO, whose job is to handle disability and access issues. U.S. airlines are required to have a CRO available at each airport they serve during operating hours. Quiet rooms, the airport's best-kept secret. More big hubs, Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth, Denver, are adding quiet rooms, sensory rooms, or accessibility lounges. Softer lighting, less noise, seats you can actually relax in. They were first designed for neurodivergent travelers, but many airports now let anyone who needs a calmer space use them, including seniors. You usually won't see a big sign, so you have to ask. At an information desk or gate, say, "Where is the accessibility lounge or quiet waiting area?" If you're already flagged for assisted boarding, you can ask, "I'm under assisted boarding. Am I eligible for a quiet or accessibility waiting area?" When the answer is yes, everything changes. Instead of spending a delay in a hard plastic chair under a loudspeaker, you're in a calmer corner where your heart rate can come down and your body can reset before the next flight. Real ID and biometric screening. When was the last time you really looked at the ID you hand over at the airport? Not for your name, but for that tiny star in the corner. Starting May 7, 2025, Real ID became the standard for domestic flights. If your license doesn't have that little star, or if it's marked not for federal identification, it's still fine for driving. But TSA can't treat it as your main ID at the checkpoint. You'll need something else ready for U.S. flights, like a Real ID compliant state ID or a valid passport. More airports and airlines are using biometric checks at kiosks, boarding gates, and passport control. The system compares today's face to an old photo. If your passport picture is 10 years old and you've aged in ways the software struggles with, it can stall. The fix: carry a second ID with a more recent photo and let a human officer clear you the old-fashioned way. Your 2026 travel protocol. First, fix your timing. Aim for 90 minutes on domestic connections and at least 2.5 hours when changing planes internationally, especially at big hubs like JFK or Atlanta. That extra time lets you walk, find a restroom, handle a gate change, and still make the next flight without racing across the terminal. Next, protect your circulation. Use a 1-hour rule. Don't sit completely still for more than 60 minutes. When the seatbelt sign is on, keep your legs moving with small ankle circles and heel lifts. When it's off and safe, take short walks up the aisle. Add proper compression socks and steady water instead of round after round of coffee or wine. Let tech work for you. A watch or phone with fall detection and location sharing is a real backup. Turn on fall alerts and share your trip or live location with family. If you get dizzy in a restroom or on an escalator, that device can trigger help. Finally, for international trips, get travel medical insurance and look at how it treats pre-existing conditions. Most policies check a look-back window, often 60 to 180 days. Pick a plan that offers a pre-existing condition waiver, and you usually only get that waiver if you buy soon after you book your trip, not the week before departure. The bottom line: airlines and airports aren't slowing down in 2026. More apps, more scanners, more fine print. But with planning, your age becomes an advantage. You get the extra time, the better seat, the real help with meds and mobility, and you still have energy left to enjoy the trip. Pack your meds, check that ID, give yourself more time than the app suggests, and request your wheelchair assistance 48 hours out. You'd be shocked how many travelers lose their medications at airport security every single day. Picture this: You're at the TSA checkpoint. You've packed everything perfectly. You're on time. You think you're good to go. Then, the agent opens your bag, pulls out your medication, and says, "Sorry, you can't take this." You freeze. What? You've been taking that for years. You need it on this trip. But it doesn't matter. Once they decide, it's gone, confiscated. And that moment of panic turns your dream vacation into a nightmare. The truth is, most people think medications are exempt from TSA restrictions. It's medicine, they say. Of course I can bring it. But the rules have changed, and in 2025, they're tightening even more. TSA and customs officials are cross-checking with FDA import regulations, new controlled substance lists, and even international databases. That means if you're flying with any kind of prescription drug, yes, even over-the-counter pills, you need to know what's allowed, what's restricted, and what could get you stopped, fined, or worse, detained. Let's start with the biggest mistake travelers make: packing pills in unmarked containers. You've probably seen those little plastic pill organizers that split up doses for each day of the week. Super convenient, right? Not for TSA. To them, unmarked pills are a mystery. They can't verify what the medication is without proper labeling. If the medication isn't in its original pharmacy container, with your name and prescription label clearly visible, it can be flagged as a controlled substance. That's right. Even if it's something as innocent as a vitamin supplement or an allergy tablet, if it's loose or unlabeled, it could be seized. Now here's the part most travelers miss. TSA doesn't just screen for safety anymore. They're now required to flag any medications that could violate international drug control laws. Why? Because so many travelers bring prescription drugs that are legal in the US but illegal elsewhere. For instance, Adderall, Xanax, and even common painkillers like Tramadol are banned or heavily restricted in several countries. So when TSA spots something suspicious in your bag, they might involve Customs and Border Protection, CBP, who then alert the destination country's authorities if they suspect you're carrying a prohibited drug. So yes, even before you step foot in another country, you could be setting yourself up for a very uncomfortable conversation. But let's not panic. Let's break this down step by step. If you have prescription medication, here's what you need to do. First, always travel with the original prescription label. If you've transferred pills to a smaller container for convenience, keep a photo of the prescription on your phone and bring a printed copy from your doctor. TSA agents are humans. They understand people travel, but they need to see clear proof that your medication is legitimate and prescribed to you. Second, declare your medication at the checkpoint if you're carrying liquids, gels, or syringes. This is critical for insulin users, EpiPens, or anyone with injectables. TSA allows you to carry them, but they need to inspect them separately. You can request a private screening if you prefer privacy, and you're allowed to bring ice packs or gel packs to keep temperature-sensitive meds cool. Just make sure they're frozen solid when you go through screening. Now, let's talk about what's changing in 2025. According to the latest TSA and FDA coordination memo, several new categories of medications are being classified as high scrutiny. This includes strong painkillers, certain anxiety medications, and sleep aids like Ambien. Even though you might have a valid prescription, TSA agents are being trained to flag them if they appear in large quantities or unlabeled packaging. Why? Because they're often linked to smuggling and abuse cases. So if you're bringing more than a 90-day supply, expect questions. Here's another thing: CBD products and cannabis-derived medications. They're a gray area, and travelers are getting caught left and right. Even though CBD is federally legal under specific conditions, TSA can still detain or confiscate your products if the THC content exceeds 0.3%. And in 2025, they're introducing on-the-spot testing kits to verify that. That means if you're traveling with CBD oil, gummies, or topical creams, they might test it right there in the screening area. If it fails, it's gone. And here's something no one talks about: foreign prescription packaging. If you filled your prescription overseas, it might not have the same information layout or even the same dosage markings as in the US TSA may not recognize it as legitimate, which could lead to seizure. So if you're returning to the States with medicine you got abroad, bring your medical documentation in English, ideally signed and stamped by a recognized clinic. Now, you might be wondering, can the TSA really confiscate medication if I need it to survive? The answer is yes, they can. If an agent suspects your medication violates TSA or federal law, they have the authority to hold it, report it, or dispose of it. In extreme cases, like controlled narcotics without paperwork, they can involve law enforcement. But don't worry, there are ways to protect yourself. Here are some smart traveler tips that frequent flyers swear by. 1. Always pack your medications in your carry-on, never in checked luggage. Lost luggage happens every day, and if your medication's in there, you're in trouble. 2. Bring only what you need. Don't pack a year's worth of pills unless you have an extended stay visa or documentation. 3. Keep a doctor's letter explaining your medical condition and listing all prescribed drugs. It doesn't have to be long, just official and signed. And 4. Know the laws of your destination country. Japan, for example, has some of the strictest medicine import rules in the world. Certain nasal sprays and ADHD medications are completely banned. Singapore, the UAE, and Qatar are also notorious for their zero-tolerance stance on unregistered medications. Even India has become more stringent. Customs officers are cross-referencing imported medicines with national registries. TSA's updated 2025 guidelines also include new scanning tech, AI-based scanners that can identify the chemical composition of pills and liquids without opening the container. Sounds great for efficiency, but it also means you can't hide anything. The machines can tell whether your pills match known drug databases, and if there's a mismatch, expect manual inspection. Now, let's address something a lot of people are confused about: non-prescription items. Things like vitamins, herbal supplements, or homeopathic pills. Believe it or not, these can also be flagged, especially if they come in unlabeled bags or foreign brands that TSA agents don't recognize. Herbal capsules from Asia or Africa, for instance, are often stopped for inspection because they sometimes contain unlisted controlled ingredients. If you're traveling internationally, one more layer comes into play: customs declarations. Some countries require you to declare all medication, even over-the-counter painkillers like Tylenol. If you fail to declare and you're searched, it's treated as smuggling. You might not go to jail, but the fines can be steep, and your name might get flagged for future travel. There's also a rise in red list medications, drugs that are perfectly normal in one country but banned in another. Codeine, for example, is over-the-counter in some places but a controlled narcotic in others. The same goes for pseudoephedrine, commonly used in cold medicine. It's banned in Japan and Mexico without a doctor's prescription. And here's something you may not know: TSA can now access your prescription history through federal verification if you're detained. It's not common, but in some cases where they suspect trafficking, they'll verify the legitimacy of your prescription through a national database. That's why it's always safer to be upfront and organized. If your medication looks clean, labeled, and properly documented, they'll wave you through. Now, imagine being halfway through your trip and realizing your medication was confiscated or left behind. Depending on where you are, it might be impossible to refill it without a local prescription. That's why many seasoned travelers carry a backup emergency kit. Just a few doses kept separately in case their main stash gets taken. But perhaps the biggest mistake travelers make is assuming it won't happen to me. Every day, TSA confiscates medications from travelers who are perfectly innocent. They just didn't follow the rules. And in 2025, when new AI scanners and stricter coordination with customs agencies roll out, that number is only going to rise. If you've made it this far, here's your takeaway. Before your next flight, audit your medication bag. Make sure every pill, capsule, or liquid has a reason to be there. Double-check your prescription dates. If you're carrying controlled substances, bring your doctor's note and prescription label. Don't rely on, "I've done it before and it was fine." TSA rules are evolving fast, and they're not giving warnings anymore. And one last insider tip: TSA agents often flag suspicious behavior as much as suspicious items. If you act nervous or defensive when they inspect your bag, it raises their alert level. Stay calm, polite, and cooperative. It goes a long way. As the world of travel tightens post-pandemic and the 2025 security policies take effect, the best thing you can do is travel smart. Don't let your medicine be the reason your trip gets delayed, or worse, canceled. Always label, declare, and document, because once it's gone, there's no way to get it back from the TSA. So before you zip up that suitcase and head to the airport, take a few minutes to make sure your medications are packed right. It's one of those things that seems small until it isn't. Now, let's dive a little deeper, because while all of this might sound like an overreaction, these policies didn't appear out of nowhere. They're the result of years of incidents that forced TSA and international security agencies to tighten the rules. Take, for example, the 2023 incident at LAX, where a traveler tried to board with a suitcase full of pain relief supplements bought overseas. Turns out, they contained a controlled opioid derivative banned in the US. The passenger didn't even know. He bought them over the counter while abroad. But ignorance didn't help. He was detained, his medication destroyed, and he was fined. And that's when TSA realized something. Too many travelers have no idea what's actually inside their pills. Then there's the flip side. Travelers carrying perfectly legitimate medication, but packaged incorrectly. There was a woman flying from Miami to Madrid with her elderly mother. Her mother had several heart medications, all repacked in a weekly pill organizer to save space. TSA saw the unlabeled pills and flagged them as suspicious. The family was delayed for almost 2 hours, while the agents verified the medication with a pharmacist via video call. They eventually let her go, but it was a stressful reminder that sometimes convenience isn't worth the risk. These are the stories that shaped the new 2025 policies. Agencies are now prioritizing traceability. They want to see where a medication came from, who it belongs to, and whether it aligns with federal law. So while it might feel like a hassle, the best thing you can do is make their job easier. Organize, label, document. Think of it like passing a test. If your medication looks legitimate and easy to verify, they'll wave you through. If it looks confusing, you'll get stopped. But here's something few people realize. Medications are also becoming a data point in your travel record. Under the new Travel Security Integration Program, your declarations, especially for controlled substances, can be logged and shared across border systems. That means if you're flagged once for questionable medication, it might follow you on future trips. The system doesn't automatically punish you, but it can trigger secondary screenings. So again, transparency is key. You also have to think about how much you're carrying. Bringing a few days' worth of pills for a short trip? Totally fine. But packing bulk quantities, say 500 tablets or multiple sealed bottles, will immediately raise red flags. Even if it's a supplement, TSA might suspect you're bringing it for distribution. The rule of thumb: don't carry more than you reasonably need for your stay. If you must, bring a letter explaining why. And speaking of supplements, let's talk about one of the biggest gray areas: natural or herbal medicine. Many people prefer plant-based remedies or traditional medicine. but TSA agents are trained to look out for substances that look like powdered drugs. For instance, a traveler once had powdered turmeric and ground herbs seized because it resembled an illicit substance. While lab tests later cleared it, the point stands. Unlabeled powders or capsules can cause massive delays. Always label everything, even if it's something as innocent as ginger capsules or ashwagandha. Now, here's something that's catching even seasoned travelers off guard: the new cooperation between TSA and postal inspection authorities. Why does that matter? Because many travelers are shipping their medications ahead to hotels or destinations to avoid airport hassle. In 2025, that's getting harder. Packages containing pills or liquids are being scanned for controlled substances under new customs integration rules. If something doesn't check out, it gets held up, or worse, destroyed before you even land. So, what's the safest strategy? Keep everything on you, not in checked luggage, not shipped ahead, not stashed with friends. On you, in your carry-on, with proper paperwork. If anything goes wrong, at least you're there to explain. And honestly, that's the best mindset to travel with. Assume you'll need to explain your medicine and pack accordingly. If they don't ask, great. If they do, you're ready. Because the real danger isn't just losing your medicine, it's losing your peace of mind. Nobody wants to spend the start of their vacation arguing with a security officer over a bottle of pills. Preparation is the ultimate travel hack. So before your next trip, take 10 minutes to check your meds, print your prescriptions, and learn your destination's rules. It's such a small effort compared to the chaos it prevents. When it comes to 2025 travel, the new golden rule is simple. If it goes in your bag, it should have a reason and proof. Safe travels, stay informed, and as always, if you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video. The line shuffles forward, the lights are too bright, your heart is beating a little too fast. And then the officer looks up, locks eyes with you, and says, "Next." In that moment, your entire trip hangs on how you answer just 10 simple questions. May I see your passport? This sounds like the easiest part of travel, but it is actually the first test you either pass or fail in seconds. The officer isn't just checking a document. They're checking you, your hands, your breathing, your eyes, the way you step up to the counter. If you start digging through your bag, shuffling papers, unzipping 3 compartments while nervously laughing, you've already sent the wrong message. Unprepared, overwhelmed, unpredictable. A calm traveler does the opposite. Passport ready in hand, not buried under snacks and receipts. One smooth motion. You place it down, look at the officer, and say something simple like, "Here you go," or even just hand it over in silence. No jokes, no apologies, no long explanation about why your bag is messy. At this first question, confidence speaks louder than any stamp in your passport. If you act like you belong there, the system starts to believe you do. Then comes the second question, the one that quietly reveals whether you're a short-term visitor or a potential long-term headache. How long will you stay? Most people underestimate how powerful this question is. They hear it, and their brain starts scrambling. Wait, was it 10 days or 12? Should I mention my cousin's wedding? Do I talk about the road trip? That inner chaos leaks into your voice. You start rambling. Around 2 weeks, but it might be a bit longer if my friend, I think. That is exactly what triggers suspicion. Not because your plans are evil, but because your answer sounds uncertain. Immigration systems track overstays. They know which types of travelers don't leave when they're supposed to. So when you sound unsure about when you're leaving, you accidentally step into the risk category. The travelers who glide through this question answer like they already memorized their own story. 10 days. 1 week. 2 months for a course. Short, clean, steady. Next, the officer tilts the conversation into the heart of your trip. What is the purpose of your visit? This is the question that can turn a relaxed chat into a serious interrogation in seconds. By the time you reach that desk, your purpose is not a mystery. Your visa type, your ticket, your booking, even your past trips already paint a picture of why you're there. The officer isn't asking because they don't know. They're asking to see if your story matches the one already in the system. This is where many travelers make a deadly mistake. They start telling their life story. Well, I'm visiting friends, but I might also do some sightseeing and maybe look at some job opportunities, and also, that kind of answer explodes into red flags. Too many threads, too many motives, too much noise. Seasoned travelers keep it in 3 safe lanes the officer instantly understands: tourism, business, education. I'm here for vacation. I'm here for a business meeting. I'm here to study for 1 month. That's it. You're not on a TED stage. The officer doesn't need your emotional motivation or a decade of backstory. They need your purpose in 1 line. The calmer and cleaner it sounds, the faster they move on. Then, just when you think the conversation is casual, the officer drops a question that does something much deeper. What do you do for work? This is not small talk. This question quietly measures your stability in life, your job, your studies, your retirement. These are signals that you have a life to return to, a steady job, an ongoing course, a family routine, a business. All of that says, I'm going home after this. Then comes a question that sounds harmless, but it's one of the sharpest tools on their list. Are you traveling alone? Most people think this is polite curiosity. In reality, they already know the answer. Your booking data, your seat assignment, who checked in with you, who scanned their boarding pass right before you. This is all visible to them. They're not trying to find out whether you're alone. They're checking whether your answer matches their screen. Then you get a question that suddenly feels more personal. Do you have any family here? This is where some travelers tense up immediately, imagining that saying yes is dangerous. But the real danger isn't the yes or no, it's how you deliver it. Family means connection. Connection means it could be easier for someone to stay longer than allowed, get help finding unofficial work, or slowly slide from visitor into resident. That's why this question exists. If your answer is no, keep it effortlessly simple. No, I don't. Not no, I swear, I don't know anyone here, no family, no friends, nobody, I promise. That kind of panicked oversharing sounds like fear, and fear often looks like guilt, whether you mean it or not. If your answer is yes, you still keep the same calm surface. Yes, my cousin lives here. My sister works in the city. Honest, short, controlled. The officer's main focus isn't your cousin, it's your reaction to the question. Do your eyes suddenly shift? Does your tone change like you've been caught? Do your shoulders stiffen? That's what makes them dig deeper. The trick is simple. Tell the truth, but tell it without drama. Then the conversation slips backward in time. Have you been here before? On the surface, this feels like a casual memory question. In reality, it's a truth check. Your travel history is already logged. Entries, exits, visas, stamps. The officer can see it with a glance. They ask to see if your answer flows naturally or if you stumble. If this is your first time, you don't decorate it. No, this is my first time. If you visited before, you anchor it clearly. Yes, I visited last summer. I was here 2 years ago for business. Notice how each answer drops a simple time frame and stops there. Up to this point, you've been talking mostly about you, your plans, your job, your history. Now, the focus shifts to what you're carrying. Do you have anything to declare? This is the question people treat like background noise, and that's why it trips up so many travelers. Snacks from home, herbal remedies, medicine, gifts, electronics, cash, these may seem harmless to you, but in another country, they might be restricted, taxable, or controlled. The officer isn't expecting you to know every law by heart, but they are watching your behavior very closely in this moment. The biggest red flag here is not a forbidden item, it's a guilty reaction. A shaky, an anxious glance at your bags, nervous over-explaining like, well, I have some stuff, but it's just small things. Nothing really, just a little. That kind of answer screams, please don't look in my suitcase, even if you're technically fine. If you truly have nothing to declare under that country's rules, say it like you mean it. No, I don't. Firm, calm, neutral. If you do have something to declare, honesty is your shield, not your enemy. By now, the officer has a complete picture of who you are, why you're there, and what you brought. Then comes a question that seems small, but cracks open your whole plan. Where will you be staying? This is where unprepared travelers suddenly freeze. They know they booked a hotel, but the name just evaporated under pressure. They know the city, but not the neighborhood. They start frantically scrolling through emails, screenshots, photos, while the officer just watches the panic grow. That moment of chaos sends one strong message. This traveler doesn't fully know where they're going, but immigration doesn't expect you to recite a full address from memory. They're testing control, not your ability to memorize postcodes. All you really need is a simple, solid sentence. I'm staying at the Pacific Hotel in Manhattan. I'm staying at an Airbnb in downtown Toronto. I'll be with my cousin in Melbourne. Name, city, type of place, that's enough. In many countries, your accommodation is already connected to your visa, arrival card, or airline data. This question is just checking whether your mouth matches the system. If you can answer without fumbling or guessing, you look like someone who planned their trip, not someone who drifted into it. Then finally, the question that decides whether your story has a proper ending or just stops. Can I see your return ticket or onward travel? This is where everything you said up to this point either locks into place or starts to wobble. You've claimed tourism, a fixed number of days, a place to stay, a job, or studies back home. But this is the proof that you actually intend to leave. When the officer asks for your return or onward ticket, and you suddenly have to dig through a dying phone, scroll an infinite inbox, open 3 different apps, and still can't find it, you immediately look unprepared. And unprepared travelers are the ones officers want to look at more closely. The seasoned traveler prepares for this moment before stepping off the plane. Ticket screenshot saved offline. Email bookmarked. Printed copy tucked into the passport sleeve. So when the question comes, the response is smooth and fast. Yes, here it is. I'm flying back on the 22nd. Or, yes, I have an onward flight to Singapore. Not only is the document ready, you know what it says. The officer isn't judging your airline or fare type. They don't care if your ticket is flexible or if you might change it later. They care that you have proof of an exit. When you can show that in seconds, calmly, without drama, the interview usually ends on a high note. So how do you walk into that bright, stressful arrivals hall and move through these questions like someone who's done it 100 times? First, keep your passport close, not buried, not hidden under snacks, not zipped into that one pocket you always forget. The moment you step off the plane, you should know exactly where it is. That simple move alone makes the first question smooth instead of stressful. Second, know your story before they ask. Before you join the immigration line, say your basics in your head. Purpose of visit, length of stay, where you're staying. One line for each. If you can answer those 3 cleanly in your own mind, you'll answer them cleanly at the counter. Third, stop oversharing. Most travelers get into trouble not because they're lying, but because they talk too much. The officer asks 1 question, they answer 5. From that point on, the conversation is no longer under control. Your rule is simple. Answer the question, only the question, and then stop. Silence is not rude in that booth. It is a sign that you are not scrambling. Fourth, be precise without drowning in detail. 1 week is better than, well, maybe 7 to 10 days depending on what my friend decides. Tourism is better than, I'm here to relax, think about life, and maybe see if I can. Short answers sound confident. Long, tangled ones sound rehearsed. Or worse, improvised. Fifth, keep your documents in a quick access system. Return ticket, hotel details, invitation letters, anything important. Put them in one dedicated folder on your phone, and if possible, keep printed copies together with your passport. When an officer asks for something and you can pull it up in seconds, the conversation stays smooth. The moment you start fumbling, their curiosity increases. Sixth, watch your body language. You don't need to stand like a statue, but you also don't want to fidget like you're hiding something. Stand steady, breathe normally. Don't avoid eye contact in a way that looks like fear, but don't stare in a way that looks confrontational. Think calm, respectful, ready, not guilty or defensive. Seventh, walk up to the counter like you belong there. Because you do. You bought a ticket. You followed the rules. You're allowed to travel. The officer's job is not to bully you out of the sky, it's to make sure you match the story on your documents. When you move with that quiet, grounded confidence, you look like the kind of traveler who never causes problems. If you want more guides like this to help you move through airports, visas, and border questions with real confidence, make sure you stick around. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and keep your next trip one step ahead of the questions.